Hi guys, my name is Kudo. I'm the host of the PlayStation Point. Today I'm with Tyler. If you hadn't noticed, we're recording a day later, and that is because Sony decided to have their press conference today at noon Pacific, but 3 p.m. Eastern time. And that... Siri, shut the fuck up. How dare you interrupt my intro?
Siri, please.
Anyway, so we decided to delay the podcast this week just a bit so we can talk about the conference today. And then next week we'll talk more about the games coming out and maybe more about PlayStation VR. But for now, let's starting off with PlayStation Pro. PlayStation 4 Pro was announced today. It's going to come out November 10th of this year, just in time for Black Friday, where people kill each other just for Christmas presents.
And just in time for people to enjoy Skyrim Classic Edition. Because that comes out the day after.
I don't know, I would pretty much wait for Horizon Zero Dawn, because you're going to be able to play in 4K, and that's just going to look gorgeous.
That doesn't matter for someone like me, who doesn't even have an HDR-capable... Actually, I have an HDR-capable TV, but I don't have one capable of 4K resolution.
Neither do I. I have HD TVs for my computer monitors, but that's it.
This is that moment where I also realized that it's going to be really hard for recording software to keep up, because at this point, recording hardware like the Elgato is still in 1080p resolution, but...
Yeah, I even have the old Elgato too, so it's like... Let's Players who know their tech stuff or having someone else do their tech stuff, that's helpful. Mm-hmm. But for, I guess, someone who's starting, it's not that great. But do you really have that much when you're first starting out?
Yeah.
Not really.
No. The fact of the matter is that the Elgato is good enough for stuff that we do, because it can record 1080i 60, which is fine. But we're finally getting to the point where we have to start accounting for the fact that consoles are now 4K capable, and we're probably going to have to start making content that's 4K capable.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying because 4K anything is expensive.
Yeah, and HD already takes 2 hours to render in Sony Vegas Pro 13.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure my computer is capable of rendering in 4K. I haven't tried it, though.
Yeah.
So... that's going to be interesting.
I can barely record in 720p sometimes. That's...
Oh.
Yeah. My computer's really sad.
At least you have good internet, right?
Yeah. I can stream in 1080p 30. That's fine. That's the best I can do. But when it comes to other stuff like older consoles, I have to consider I really don't want to upscale a 480i game to a 1080p format, because that's going to look real ugly.
Yeah, my internet got downgraded as soon as I moved, and I was like, damn it. And even on, yeah. I have an Ethernet cord plugged into my computer, and even that's eh. I was actually talking to my brother, and he's like, oh, I got better internet at my college. And I was like, fucking engineer.
Yeah, of course it's IT as well.
Yeah, they said they were
better internet.
I was told they were supposed to replace the ports and everything, but I'm pretty sure they never came to my building. I never saw them, and I never got a note inside or on the doorknob saying that they did come and visit. So I get the genuine feeling they never came.
Yeah, that's a fair assumption. Yeah, the PS4 Pro is actually kind of interesting to me.
Other than it's upgraded Interworks.
Yeah, double the GPU power is an interesting thought to me. But the most interesting thing to me was that they claim all of this stuff that's far better than the current stuff they have, and it's the same price as the PS4 was at launch.
I bought my PS4 at $350 discounted with Little Big Planet 3, and then because I didn't get
for $450, I think, because it was the Glacier White with Destiny.
The thing is mine was supposed to come with headphones, but due to a system error, I didn't get them. So they gave me Best Buy gave me enough money to either buy another game or get another controller, so I bought another controller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh, yeah, $400 at launch. That's pretty substantial.
Are you willing to trade in your current PS4 for a PS4 Pro?
I would be, but only because my only main interest about improved console capability, especially for hardware reasons, is to make sure that stuff like PlayStation VR will perform at a rate that actually makes it not nauseating.
I mean, I can see that. I'm holding off on getting PSVR until like 2018 though.
Yeah, I'm gonna be that guy. I'm gonna be streaming PSVR stuff.
I mean, if Armando isn't really in his, if he's still in his slump by the time PSVR comes out, I kind of wanted to ship it to me so I can test it out.
I mean, I have to get a PlayStation camera because I still have the PS3 camera, but I mean,
I don't
I'm
have
already
either of that.
I'm all ready for VR. Like I have one of these, one of these PlayStation
I
moves.
I don't have that. I think someone said they were willing to give it to me, but like they forgot where it was, and I was like, "You motherfucker!"
You can get these for really cheap now. You can probably get a $10 one, or you can get the special 2-for-1 pack for $100.
I mean, like the launch bundle is pretty good, but it's just at the moment I can't really justify that considering I'm going to buy a season pass for skiing this season.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm more or less ready to play Farpoint because I have this, and I also have. Oh god, hold on. I also have this, the Resistance
Did
3.
did they say that actually worked, Tyler? Because I'm not sure if it does.
This work. I got this with Resistance 3 is the thing. So like when Resistance 3 had PlayStation Move support and everything off the box, this was like the pack that came with this specific sharpshooter controller.
But I'm not sure if it's going to work with PlayStation VR. That's my question. Is it actually compatible?
Well, this is just a thing. Like you plug in the. It's basically like a Wii Zapper, where it's just an add-on for the controllers. It doesn't really change anything. It still acts as a move controller, and if you use the motion controller, the half stick that has a left stick on it, then I assume that it'll yeah, I assume that it'll work for Farpoint. But I don't really know because I've never played Farpoint and I don't know like what you can use with it. Either way, like I've only ever used this for Resistance 3 and rail shooters for that note. But I'm willing to try it with VR if there's capability for it.
I would hope so because, like, I feel like the fact that you got it and then they're like, "Oh, we don't support that." I feel like that's a big fuck you to your face from Sony personally.
I mean, I got my PS3 like 2 years after Resistance 3 came out, and then I got this the year after. So I was way behind on PlayStation Move to begin with, but I wanted to like adopt it because I knew that it would have some use with games later, and I find it to be an absolute treat to use with like Unreal shooters because I'm a huge arcade fan. So like I play Resident Evil: The Dark Side Chronicles with it, and Time Crisis 4 in particular was really nice to play with a Move controller rather than sticks.
I mean, that kind of was what when I tried the Vive at E3 Live, that was kind of what it felt like I was playing with. It's still pretty cool, but
Yeah. Like I feel like just because I'm like an arcade nut, I always have imagination for stuff like that. Like when the Wii U was announced and they were showing off the prototype gamepad, I was just like, I cannot wait for a Silent Scope game to be made on that or a Pokemon Snap game to be made on that because it's perfect for it.
And then they didn't, and now they're kind of making it in Pokemon Sun and Moon.
Yeah, I think Sniper Elite V2 is on Wii U. Actually, no, Sniper Elite was on the Wii. I don't know if Sniper Elite 2 was on Wii U.
I don't remember hearing a title of that.
Well, Sniper Elite is a simulation sniper game. It's been more action-based as the titles have gone on. But the main draw is that you have to like account for wind and drop over range when you snipe someone. So So like you have to account for all that. And then it like cuts away skin and muscle in order to show like what the bullet does in slow motion to a human body. That's like the biggest draw of it.
Hmm.
But
Uh,
the games overall are really fun because they have like a sense of stealth to it. Because like you can listen for sounds, like planes go by or artillery strikes on the ground or something, and it makes these explosive noises, and you can use that to mask your sniper shots.
hmm.
So like I expected that kind of stuff to be capable for Wii U because you can look around and use a scope all you want. They did it with Zombie U. Now that I think about it, but yeah,
Well, I mean, like, I feel like it's gonna have better implementation in VR, whether you're
yeah,
using the PlayStation VR 5, Oculus.
yeah. And that's the thing I was gonna bring up as well before I got mildly sidetracked is VR and motion controls would do beautifully for on-rail shooters.
It would.
Because the two games I can think of that are like the most memorable arcade experiences for me are the House of the Dead Overkill, which was a Wii title that was ported onto PS3 for move support as well, and games like Silent Scope, Time Crisis, Ghost Squad, all these on-rail shooters where you can do a lot with just adding the ability to look around when you're in a standstill position and like be able to like physically duck and everything. There's a lot you can do with VR for an on-rail shooter mechanic.
And I mean, I think that's like the main argument as like why people are really pushing for VR right now is because you can do so much more and be so much more immersed in the game.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. It's just kind of like how well is it executed is
Yeah.
the real question.
I'm kind of curious if the developers of an on-rail shooter that came out for PS4 called Blue Estate, I wonder if that's going to be if they're going to patch in VR with that because it had PlayStation Move support as far as I know.
I feel like it would be good to do that, but do they have the funds for it?
It was a pretty successful indie game. It was
Even so, there's still indie like development group.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be like, oh, they're totally gonna make it. I'm gonna be like, if they can make it, that'd be awesome. But
Yeah.
I don't necessarily expect them to.
A dude can dream about special things based around his childhood.
Yes, many, many special things.
Mm-hmm. Like Pokemon Go, yay! I can finally walk around and catch Pokemon in the real world.
Yes,
Now,
and now
if only
you
I
can do
got
it
off
on
my
your
ass to do
iWatch.
Yeah, if only I got off my ass to do it.
If only the sun didn't hate me. You know, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Well, thankfully,
people didn't feel like it's okay to attack women at night.
Yeah. Autumn's happening. Yay. That means I can go out without getting sunburned.
It's LA. I'm probably going to get sunburned anyway. Actually,
Yes.
I need to go buy more sunscreen after doing this.
I go through a bottle of sunscreen a day.
I might as well. I'm a vampire.
Help me.
The sun burns. But I feel like a new Dot Hat game could come out of PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
It's just that it is an old franchise. If anything, I'm more likely to see like Sword Art Online, which is garbage. I don't care if you hate me for that. It is garbage, garbage, garbage.
Coming from a guy who likes the Ghost Story dub, I don't like Ghost. I like Sword Art Online. I don't like a lot of anime actually.
There's a lot of anime that is very much just there to sell.
Yep.
But there are animes that do, have a point to them.
Yeah,
I just
Love Live, yay!
I
like
but,
Love Live, but it is really just selling.
Yeah, but
buy our books.
But that's sort of like part of the anime industry, and we can have that for another podcast.
Yeah.
As for me, I'm going to keep my PlayStation 4. I can't change out the S in the HDD cover that I currently have on it, so I still have the original cover, but I feel like it's just a collector's item rather than something I'm actually using. So unless I desperately need the PlayStation 4 Pro to do VR and then like in 2 years, maybe.
Like the biggest selling point of the PS4 Pro to me at this point is the fact that it has a 1 terabyte hard drive.
That is
That's
awesome.
about it. Like, I absolutely respect the fact that they are giving, that they are patching in firmware support for HDR in all PS4 consoles. So
Unfortunately, they're not doing 4K. Like 4K
it
is
is
only
really hard to do
streaming.
4K. It is really hard to do 4K resolution.
I know, but now like Xbox is like, oh, but we can do that and more. It's not just streaming, and I'm just like,
Yeah, just for reference, in the world of Microsoft, they released Halo 5 Forge on Windows 10, which is a free version of Halo 5 multiplayer that you can only access Forge and custom games with. The maximum recommended specs that they require if you want to play it at the absolute top stuff, you need a 4 gigabyte VRAM video card, which is about $400 off the bat, and 16 gigabytes of base RAM, and that's in order to play it at 4K resolutions at 60 FPS.
I'm pretty sure I have that.
Yeah, but that kind of stuff is really expensive, and I'm pretty sure the PS4 is about half that. It's a 2 gig VRAM with 8 gigabytes of RAM.
That is true. It's just that like I feel like people were expecting more out of it, considering it was like it's sort of like a mid console update or a mid generation update,
People
and the fact that like
it's an end generation console, which is weird because it's only been 4 years.
I know it's strange, but then like I think people really wanted 4K Blu-ray, and it doesn't support that.
Yeah.
Granted, like 4K has only been something of the past year or two, and a lot of people do not have 4K TVs. So, I mean,
people are buying something that they can't even get the full extent of, which is hilarious to me.
Yeah, because like if I don't have a 4K display, what's the point in buying something that'll let me do 4K?
I saw ARMS being like, "Will Persona 5 support 4K resolution and everything?" And I'm like, ARMS. Not only will you need to buy a PS4 Pro to play it in 4K resolution, but you're also going to have to buy a 4K and HDR capable TV in order to see it at 4K resolution. Your 1080p TV will not magically upscale it to 4K.
I mean, like I could see Atlas patching it later, but the game's coming out in like what, a week or two in Japan?
Yeah.
Like maybe they'll patch it later, but right now it's like what?
I don't even think it needs HDR based on its art style.
No,
like
what?
HDR is more for photorealism.
Honestly, like the only game I can see where like that would be absolutely wonderful is if Hideki Kamiya did like a second Okami. And I'm not talking like Okami did. I mean like a full 4K game of Okami in its paintbrush style and blooming sequences. I would just love that.
Yeah.
Like it's already gorgeous in HD. Let's put it in 4K and let my brain explode.
Yeah. I love Sumai. But yeah, I think the only games that benefit greatly from these kinds of resolutions and HDR are photorealistic games. Battlefield 1, Horizon Zero Dawn come to mind. Uncharted 4 would definitely get a benefit from it.
I think Flower, which is done by the studio who did Journey.
Yeah, I know.
Turns out the people who made Journey are from USC. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, Santa Clara, right? They're part of Santa Monica Studios, aren't they?
I don't know, but I know I don't remember what the game company's called, but
they're called That Game Company.
Yeah, and which is ironic. But yeah, no, they were founded by 2 USC graduates because I have an awesome computer science department. Yeah.
The major thing is that their first project ever was Flow.
Yeah, I saw my brother play that.
That wound up being their breakout title for PSN, and then they made Journey, and then they made Flower.
I
which
feel like
was-
if I were to make a game, I would want it on that sort of scale of like detail, and those sort of games would really work well with 4K resolution.
Yeah, the thing is that that kind of stuff is minimalist with high fidelity detail put into the minute things. Like we saw with Journey, the world is so easy to understand. There's a very limited range of colors for things that matter. You know, you have your reds, your golds, your whites.
Your blues.
Yeah, your blues, all that. But the minute things, like minuscule grains of sand can reflect the sunlight. And
Oh yeah, it's when it's
different
refracting the
Yeah.
light source. That's amazing.
Yeah,
And if we could just like get that in 4K and VR,
Yeah.
we made it, man.
Yeah. The fact that was even capable on PS3 is a marvel of technology, and the fact that stuff like that can be pushed even further with 4K technology on an even stronger system is the thing that I think a lot of people are wanting with PS4 Pro.
And I think that's reasonable to want that. I think it's just like it's not easy to execute. It will take time. And do you feel like because we're now going up in terms of standards for video games, that development time is going to be even longer than say maybe the 3-year standard we've established at this point?
I don't think so, because there are some companies that can churn this stuff out with a 3-year cycle and be able to meet the new dynamic of graphic fidelity, technical prowess, and all that. Even though the company and the series itself has undergone a lot of duress and a lot of criticism lately, Call of Duty is a fantastic example of a company that can withstand technological advances and still manage to create period, like time accurate graphics.
But that's like a
we've seen them able to
AAA
do
studio, though.
Yeah.
Like they have
thing
the
is
manpower for it. They can provide that manpower. But for say like a small indie studio, that might be more difficult, which is why I usually see something along the lines of 8-bit and 16-bit projects.
But the thing is like that's not all that bad either, because a lot of good can come from small graphics like that, allowing to create very memorable and large scale projects out of it. Like we've seen with Stardew Valley, games like Mercenary Kings and Jamestown, games like that have pixel art based on them. But because of the fact that it's very low quality, it allows them to have a lot more freedom to make much more fantastic animation, more fluid gameplay, all that.
So it really just depends on how it's executed by the team itself.
Yeah, and the thing is like we also see high fidelity stuff being created as well. Like the very recently released game called Bound, which is being considered by a lot as like the next step from a game based around like Journey, and also games like Abzu.
Yeah, I was thinking Abzu too. It's very
like
similar to Journey.
Yeah, games like that still do come out, but like you said, they do take time. But I think that the dev cycle of 3 years is average at most. It doesn't usually excel past 4 or 5 years. Even then, games like that could tend to have post-content updates, which means that the games could be worked on for 7, 8 years more. There are games that predate World of Warcraft that are still getting updates.
True.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to note is even AAA games follow this medium as well, and release free content updates over time. As much as I hate to bring up Konami, Metal Gear Solid 5 is still getting content updates for free. Along with Destiny still getting free content updates along with the expansions.
I mean, Destiny is like, it's okay if they do that, but I feel like with the controversy surrounding Metal Gear Solid 5, it's still just, it doesn't make up for the fact that the story's not finished.
Yeah. We already brought this up last episode.
Yes, we did.
Why do we always bring up MGS5?
Because it's a big glaring example of how shitty corporate entities can be towards video games, even as an art, and that we should not support those companies as much as like we may want to support its creator. But I mean, if you want to support its creator at this point, go with Kojima Productions.
Yeah. The thing is we're finally getting to the point where we have to start like burning bridges or building new bridges with companies that we're familiar with. A lot of people have already burned bridges with Konami. A lot of people have been burning bridges with Capcom, with the recent dispute of Street Fighter V and all that. People are burning bridges with Activision, with EA, all that. And we're starting to see a very large, chambered, isolated community in gaming that both creates amazing things and bad things.
And then there's the whole copyright infringement going on. Matt Ped did do a video episode about this. You don't have to like him to agree or at least acknowledge he has a very good point about it.
If you're a very frequently YouTuber as well, you don't really need to watch his content to know firsthand just what's going on. It's just a matter of content creation that we just can't avoid anymore.
Well, like, it's just, we can't avoid anymore, but it was neatly organized. What was the point if you couldn't keep up with that sort of part in the community? Because outside the community, people don't really know that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, it was good to talk about it because it does bring up issues about how do we develop games in the future? How do current devs deal with it in terms of, like, how they advertise it? Because YouTubers are also a big part of this, and surely with the PS4 Pro and PlayStation VR, that's also going to happen.
Yeah.
So how do like PR and marketing of a game company work with YouTubers to like still give them pay without having them being under a contract necessarily, but still get what they need out of it for their own purposes of marketing to get it out to the people?
Yeah. This also brings up a good note that there are companies that pay specific attention to stuff like this and attempt to reach out to the community for stuff like this. A couple of years back, when Resident Evil 4 HD was getting released on Steam, there was a small dev team that was trying to remake Resident Evil 2 the same way that Resident Evil 4 played, and using, I think, Unreal Engine 4 at the time, or CryEngine. I don't remember which one it was, but it was a very high-fidelity engine. And demos of it came out, or gameplay demos of it came out, and, of course, Capcom...
DCMA?
Yeah, DMCA'd it. And there was a little bit of negativity going on for it until later the developers of the fan project were like, yeah, we got a contact from Capcom saying that they wanted to invite us over to look and assist with the development of a potential Resident Evil 2 remake.
Yeah, see, so, that's the good response, because, and a lot of people have been saying this, is that, you know, you have all these people who are making all these fan projects, want to invite them onto your team, essentially, because they essentially already are giving out a portfolio of their skills, and it makes it easier to, I guess, hire them, so that, like, we can all have the video games we want.
Yeah.
And that's good, because, and I want that to come towards development for the PlayStation 4 Pro, because that way we get the games we want, and we get them at the quality that they deserve, and, you know, everyone should win.
Yeah, that's the takeaway from the PlayStation 4 Pro, I think. The fact that it was announced alongside the PS4 Slim, which we already knew about, and the fact that the PS4 Slim is a budget model that is a lot cheaper and will be the one that a lot of people pursue, should be the major thing about this. But the fact is that Sony is constantly looking for a way to make things more accessible for developers to create more memorable and more open-ended content instead of being restricted to the platform.
Well, it's because, like, if you talk to devs, the reason why, like, PC development is so much more cheaper than, you know, console development is really because of the standards, like, Sony and Xbox and Nintendo set. Like, pretty much, like, you have to have a dev kit. They don't necessarily give it to you. Yeah. And then you have to have a certain amount of Q&A testing required by outside of the company, and that also costs money. And if
Yeah.
your PC, you just do it all in-house because you're just trying to save as much money as you can. There's other things you have to pay. And if you don't really pledge yourself to one console, you don't get like extra funding and advertising help towards, getting the game out to make a profit. So I mean, consoles I say are great, but at the same time, like from a business point of view to an indie dev, it's more of a really rocky road, and it could really just make you go up in the industry, or it can really put you down and you're just dead at that point.
Yeah. That's a terrifying thing about it.
But I mean, doing any sort of business that's somewhat terrifying about it. But you have to take risks in order to gain,
Hmm.
which I think a lot of people just aren't used to.
Yeah. Um, I guess it's something that people are not comfortable with either. Is adapting. A lot of games we're seeing now are adaptations of more popularized mediums. And the games that become immensely popular are ones that buck the trend and stay with tradition. Um, id Software's Doom that came out this year is a prime example of a game that sticks to the modern approach of FPS game design, but decides that some of the nuances aren't needed to make a fun, fast-flowing experience. And Doom is considered at this point to be the best shooter of this year by far, by
Well,
a
I
lot of
mean,
people.
like, take from a perspective of, say, someone who's head of a dev team, it's probably easier to pitch something that someone knows will work to get, money
Yeah,
from than trying to pitch something entirely new. And but if you can succeed with that, all the more power to you. It's just like I don't want
the
to say
thing
it's a
is
slippery slope, but it's definitely something that you have to think about.
the thing is companies are so used to the crash and burn of a new IP that when they know that something is more comfortable and easier to make a game of that people will enjoy, they're more willing to do that. And eventually, the stress of that relation loosens up, which is why it took Doom so long to come out. Is Doom 3 was considered a failure by fans and didn't sell very well, and that's why it took 12 years for this Doom to come out. Is because they weren't sure where to take Doom, so they just kept re-releasing the first two Dooms, and then eventually it was just like, all right, I think we got it this time. Let's give it a shot. And at this point, it was just hard pressed to find a publisher, and that's why Bethesda picked them up.
Yep. But
That's
and
the sad thing
self-publishing
with
is
that.
also just as difficult because you have to do all of that work by yourself.
Yeah, it's
Marketing,
really hard to find that.
PR, it's really messy when you don't know what you're doing, and like having a publisher really does help.
Hmm.
But Kickstarters and Indiegogo have definitely circumvented that. We just
Hmm.
have some rotten apples that have made it so people don't want to trust, crowdfunding.
Yeah,
And I say I can't blame them because, like, as a
yeah,
consumer, if you're going to help fund something, should you get a product that works? Yes. If someone did not provide that, should they be held accountable for it by consumer law? Yes. But it took a few different major disasters before these crowdfunding sites are willing to take some action. So
yeah,
hopefully things like Ukulele and Bloodstained will revive people's hope and trust so that we can continue this trend of being like crowdfunding and not having to go through the middleman of a publisher and securing funding. But only time will tell, and that's really up to the dev team.
hmm that's the scary thing as well. Is we're not really going to be sure for a while.
No,
The
but
past
like
couple of years have been a
keeping
really rough ride for a lot of people. There's been a lot of really good experiences, but a lot of awful experiences as well. 2016 is just that year where we're not really sure, but things are looking up. Like, I mean,
Maybe.
Mario and Pokemon are on iOS. Call of Duty has Sony, or Sony has Call of Duty now, and well, Doom might be Game of the Year, like for the first time in almost 2 decades. That's pretty absurd circumstances we're having right now.
I mean, so long as 2016 just turns out to be a really shitty year and then 2017 is great,
Hmm.
I'm totally fine with that. I'm not
Yep.
gonna be happy if it just continues its shit trend, and I'll be like, "What is wrong with this world?"
Yeah.
I'm with the this is not fine dog,
Yeah.
which I want a plush of.
Yeah. Yeah. My entire life is that dog.
I,
Everything's burning around me. I'm just like, Destiny was all right.
but that's my life up until about when he made the secondary comic, and then I was like, "This is not fine," but I can't really do anything about it.
Hmm.
So I just kind of have to sit out and keep stomping the flames until they're finally out, and then I can go buy a new house.
Yep. Everything's fine.
Oh.
Cats and dogs living together, total anarchy. Resident Evil
Yep.
7.
So, what games are you going to pick up for PlayStation VR? Because I know the pre-orders are sold out.
Yeah, I was about to look them up and see like how much they were. $400, as I found out,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
that's it's a
expensive.
new console essentially.
Yeah. Um, I'd say that Resident Evil 7 is the big point. Like, we've already seen from some developers that third-person VR gaming is a possibility and does work. The game Edge of Nowhere is a good point. As a third-person um, experimental uh, action puzzle platformer thing majig. I really don't know how to explain it. It's a survival horror in a way. That's all I can say. But the fact is that third-person VR does work, and if Resident Evil 7 is going to stick with a third-person shooter style, then I think it'll work beautifully with it. And on the opposite spectrum, Farpoint looks like a fantastic representation of what a adventure shooter should be for VR, based on experience that I've seen from it.
Well, the reason like why I'm waiting is because I want the Psychonauts game and then Dream by Media Molecule, but those
Yeah.
games are listed for 2018 release, so I'm okay with waiting. Hopefully by then I will be. Actually, I should be graduating that year. Hopefully.
Yeah. The big thing about VR too is um, we know that Fallout 4 and Doom from id Software are going to have VR support with the Vive, I believe. But I want to know if these games are also going to have support on the PS4 with the PlayStation VR, because I have Fallout 4. I would love to try Fallout 4 VR. I think that'd be awesome. And even more so if Skyrim is going to have VR support later down the line.
I think it would be in Sony's best interest to integrate VR support with those games. I don't know how they're going to implement it.
The big issue that we're seeing right now is that Sony had some major issues getting mod support on PlayStation 4. It has a lot more restrictions than Xbox One had. Xbox One had 2 gigabytes of free space allowed to have mods on it, and PlayStation 4 only had 1 gigabyte. There's also performance-based issues. It's overall just a lot more difficult to do anything with Fallout 4 and possibly Skyrim on PS4. But I feel like VR might be the turning point for such things, especially if it performs well.
I mean, like, I know they have the power to, like, do it. It's just like, do they really think it's in their best interest? And I feel like it is. It's just like, are they willing to execute it and how they can execute it? Because obviously, there's going to take a lot more coding to get it to work.
Yeah, I think it'd be. I think it'd just be sweet in general because I've been wanting to try VR for a while, but I've just never had. I don't have the computer technology to do it, and now that I have a console that is VR capable, I want to do VR. And it just
If
so happens that there are games that I want to try VR with.
I mean, VR is absolutely amazing. I got to try the Vive. My computer is only one version away from having graphics card capability. My graphics card would have to be an NVIDIA 970, but I have a 960. But
I have to get a GTX 970.
if I'm going to like get a new graphics card though, I want to upgrade to the 1080.
Yeah. Well, the thing is like I can get a GTX 970 and I would have enough, and that would be just the perfect card for the things I need to do now. I don't need to worry about I don't have to worry about a 1070 for a couple of years if I get a 970 now. But I think as it stands, I have to make the choice between getting a better better computer video card, where I can, do all my work more simply and not have to worry about a bunch of errors and everything, or get a PlayStation VR and just prepare for everything.
I mean, like, I feel like it would be in your best interest to like upgrade your graphics card.
Yeah.
Because like I understand that like yeah, PlayStation VR is nice, but if you can't get it to work for recordings for the channel,
My computer can function for recordings. Is the thing. It can do everything just fine because the recording stuff I do is already set up for the hardware I have, so I don't have to worry about that. I can stream just fine. I can record just fine, but it's playing the games I have now that are like 2015, 2016 games. I can't run those because I just don't have the graphics card for it.
But like you can also use your graphics card technically to render stuff. So it doesn't take off your CPU. So I feel like it still would be in your best interest to take the graphics card over or essentially a new console, because that also goes into making stuff for Blaze Kick. So I mean, like, I think that's
VR.
Well, I mean, like, I think that's understandable that you would go do something else. I mean, I could do VR if I wanted to, but I feel like it's not a good investment right now.
Yeah, I was already pretty much sold on the point of getting the graphics card to begin with, because I know that it would greatly benefit me in the long run just to get the video card now. Especially because if I get the video card now, then I can do a lot more stuff in terms of recording and editing, just be able to have more freedom to do more large-scale editing. The other thing is VR can wait, because obviously if I get the HTC Vive or anything, then I can do it straight off my computer. But PlayStation VR is going to be a thing I can do in the long run anyways. We'll just have to see. But graphics card is top priority. VR is second, of course.
I kind of would want Arms to just send me his PlayStation VR stuff so that I could try it out.
Could you use the VR in your dorm?
Apartment? Yeah, because I have my PlayStation 4 in the living room.
Yeah,
I just
have my PlayStation 4. I can get my PlayStation 4 out of the living room as well and everything. So
I mean, like, I would not have it in this bedroom because holy shit, it's tiny. Like, one half of the room is like for my roommate, the other half is for me. But they gave us more space in like different areas of the apartment, so I do it out in the living room, and I would move the coffee table and maybe the armchair, and then the couch is next to the wall for some reason. I don't know.
And the biggest issue I'd say is, as a first-time VR user, if Arms sends you his VR for like recording purposes and everything, you got to be careful of the separation of reality. And that is...
Do you mean running into walls? Because I already do that without my glasses on, to be honest.
Yeah, but here's the big thing about VR. I watched somebody try to play a puzzle game where you have to like toss things around to distract robots in order for them not to see you. And the one thing I saw them do is they were crawling through a duct, and they saw a panel open underneath them, and they tried to peek their head through the duct.
Oh my god, no! What's wrong with them?
Well, it's because they're immersed. That's the thing. When you have a VR headset on, you're paying more attention to the game than your outside sources. Like, you only hear what's around you, and even then, some VR headsets have the capability of having earphones on, so you're completely separated from reality because you're in a virtual reality. And that's why stuff like running into walls or slamming your head into the ground, stuff like that is possible because you're currently unable to know what's around you, and your brain is telling you that there is a thing you can do when you can't actually do it.
Yeah, Gavin was talking about that on the Rooster Teeth podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I think he has like an Oculus or a Vive. And
Sorry, an Oculus is the one he had. It has more games playable for it. But the Vive is
I know he had a headset, and basically he was talking about it, how like he thought there was something there, but there wasn't, or he wasn't sure even after he took the headset off that it was like, is this real? This virtual reality, like,
yeah,
because he was trying to put a glass down, and I was like, oh, that's kind of scary, but it's also cool.
that's the thing is, it's going to be a terrifying thing for a lot of us for the first time. I think that's the cool thing about VR is the first experience. Like, that's going to be the thing that sells you on VR is the first experience.
I'm already sold on VR because I got to try the Vive at E3 Live. The fucking whale scared the living shit out of me, because like I was looking somewhere else, I turned right, there's a giant eye staring at me, and I'm just like terrified, like I can't talk or anything, I'm just like, it's staring, what do I do?
That's the thing, the first experience is always the thing that sells you on VR. For everybody around you that hasn't used VR yet, they're like, why would you want this? There's not.
But like, what the fuck are you doing? Are you insane? And I'll be like, yes, I am. I am that weirdo.
But everybody who has experienced VR, like I'm one of the few people who has never done VR.
You're gonna love it.
Yeah, but I know I'm going to love it because I've wanted VR for a while. It's right up there with the fact that Pokemon Go is like the one thing I've waited a decade for. VR.
Pokemon Go is AR.
Yeah, it's ARG. It's an ARG.
I think someone actually made something in VR that is like AR, and it looks, I've seen like a clip of it, it looks really cool, but we're not to the point like the Deno Coil anime where you have AR glasses, like, and there's a virtual world.
We were there for a while.
With Google Glass, but Google Glass was ahead of its time, and there were some privacy issues.
Yep.
I think there's probably also still some bugs they need to work out with that. So
they also canceled it, so it's no longer. It's like you can no longer get Google Glass.
It's
discontinued. Basically.
I know it's discontinued, but I feel like it was just a bit too early.
Yeah, I mean, Google Glass support would have been a fantastic thing for Pokemon Go, where you could be hands-free from your phone and be able to pay attention to your surroundings while still being able to play it.
But I mean, there's also. But I mean, there's legal issues to go with that, and I don't think the legal system is quite ready for it.
Yeah.
But Google knows what it's doing, so when the time comes up, I feel like Google will be ready to tackle it again and go at it even better.
Yeah. That's basically what VR is going to be as well. It's a lot of people who are experiencing the growing pains of VR understand that these are just things that are happening early launch and won't dictate what the final project is going to be. But the thing is like a lot of people also have experienced what happened with the Ouya.
Oh god, that was so bad.
Yeah. The Ouya was an interesting console. I mean, it had good games come out for it, like It'll Do, a Zelda-like game that was very tongue-in-cheek and silly, funny. But you also had games like Amazing Frog. Games like that came out for the Ouya and eventually came out to Steam platforms and everything. So good things did come out of the Ouya, but it was a mostly negative experience for people who just had a terrible time trying to get it to work. A lot of people are experiencing that VR is easy to start from the get-go, but games just aren't there that want to sell them on VR at the moment.
Yeah, that's probably feel like probably the biggest problem I think with video games having today is that we need to have certain titles to sell people on, but then like if we don't, people don't want to buy it, obviously. Like Zelda Breath of the Wild is definitely going to be seller for the NX. It's absolutely gorgeous on Wii U, and if the NX is supposed to be graphically better in terms of its innards, then yeah, it's going to sell. But if people don't have a game they want, like me, where it's like, I can't wait for PlayStation VR because the games I want are coming out for another 2 years. So I'll just wait. And that's the biggest problem because like companies want these, products to launch well, but they also had to understand, like, you can have great hardware, but if there's no good software to go with it, people aren't going to buy it.
Yeah.
I.e. the Vita.
Yep.
Poor Vita.
The Vita's the saddest experience.
Did you see Armando tweet a picture of
I
like the
saw it,
Norman
no worries.
Reedus and he's like
I saw it,
holding the Vita?
I saw it, yeah. No worries. The thing is where did I put that thing? There it is. I wanted a Vita so bad, but didn't want a Vita, that I just got this, the PlayStation TV. Because I wanted to play Vita games, but I didn't want to own a Vita, because I knew that was where it was going. So I just got a little PlayStation TV. And, yep, there's your Vita. And, yep, there's your Golden.
Yep, I got it. I have the like original, so it has like the skin. It has the OLED screen instead of an LED screen like the second iteration of the Vita. But like, the thing is this is like awesome, but like there's only so many games, and then Sony just dropped support for it after maybe 2 years.
Yep, and no worries, I do have Persona 4 Golden in here.
Yay!
I actually only own 2 physical Vita games.
Oh, you were better off doing a lot more physical. Like, I own more physical games because
the thing is, like, my
fucking memory card.
My PS TV isn't just a game where I play Persona 4 Golden and Persona 4 Dancing All Night. It's also my RPG machine, because I have Final Fantasy 1, 2, 9, 10 and 10-2, Final Fantasy Tactics, Parasite Eve, Chrono Cross, Wild Arms 1 and 2, and Harvest Moon.
I have all.
So it's just my RPG machine.
I have all the Corpse Party games, Black Rock Shooter the game. I have Katamari PS Vita, and then I have
Touch My Katamari.
Yeah, and then all the Danganronpa games. I have Persona 4 Golden. I have Legend of Mana. Yeah, I think
Legend of Mana is the PS1.
Yeah. And Zero Escape, Virtue's Last Reward, and some other games on it. But I have a good amount of games on it now. But it took a while.
Yeah.
But Persona 4 Golden is what sold me on the Vita, because I never played Persona 4 on the PS2, and it was the Persona 4 Golden is a very well done enhanced port of Persona 4.
Yeah, the thing
with even more content.
The reason I got a PS TV and Persona 4 Golden was because I bought Persona 4 on the PS2. For the PlayStation 3.
And then your friend tried to like help you, but but you were just confused. You're just like, what the fuck?
I was just like, what do you mean Okina City? There's no Okina City. And he's just like, okay, what version are you playing? I'm playing Persona 4 on the PS2. It's like, oh, I'm talking about Persona 4 Golden on the Vita. Why don't you have Persona 4 Golden on the Vita? Because I don't own a Vita. Well, get a Vita. I don't want a Vita.
Get one, bitch.
Yeah, get one. Just so you can play Persona 4 Golden, because it's better.
So much better.
Fine. Okay, I bought a PS TV. What the fuck is a PlayStation TV?
Yeah. Sony, you fail on portables, but you do wonderful consoles.
Is it weird that more people have bought a PlayStation TV than Vita?
Nope.
Because people would rather play like RPGs at home, it seems now, with Sony.
No.
It's kind of weird how the portability of RPGs is.
It's not even that. It's just like they don't want to pay a lot just to play a lot of ports.
Yeah, that's true.
All. I mean, really, if they want portability, they're probably just going to use their 3DS.
It's also a shame that the 3DS is becoming home of RPG ports at this point, too.
I don't care. I get to play RPGs. Animal Crossing.
Look at all these awesome RPGs we're getting. Port, remaster, technically sequel. Dragon Quest 7, Dragon Quest 8, I will totally get, though. I really want Dragon Quest 7 and 8.
If they do an Animal Crossing iteration for the NX, I will be very happy.
I'm one of those few people that's just like, I think Animal Crossing's better on portable.
I mean,
but at the same time, my best experiences were on console.
I mean, like, GameCube was, like, the first iteration for America, and that was really good.
Yeah.
Second one on DS was pretty good. It was, like, the City Folk one that everyone just hated, which is what fueled everyone to work really hard on New Leaf,
Yeah.
and
Now that people have New Leaf, it's just like, make a console version. And then we got Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, and it was just like,
oh no.
I don't have a problem with Amiibo Festival.
Well, it's a lot of people were like, "This is crap," and then like people weren't complaining about Mario Party 10 though.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. And you can tell that Nintendo is being like really, really careful with Animal Crossing now, because what did they do? Instead of announcing something new about Animal Crossing, they patched a game they haven't updated in 3 years.
Yeah.
They updated New Leaf.
Yep.
Like, look at what the community has done.
Yep.
They did the same thing with Metroid. Like, they were trying for a new narrative approach with Other M. Nobody liked Other M, and they were just like, all right, well, shit, guess we should try something else. Federation Force came out. What the fuck is this? Where's Samus? We don't want this.
I think Sony is avoiding that as much as possible. At least, I hope.
One can hope.
One can hope.
Oh my god. Everything. Just do everything right and try not to do anything wrong. That's impossible, I know, but just try. Because otherwise, you are going to be the butt end of everyone's joke for like 5 years. Because Nintendo has been Nintendo-doomed for 20 years at this point.
I wouldn't say 20 years, but at least 10.
Yeah.
Like, it's called, you're gonna be the butt of the joke now, and Nintendo's gonna reign supreme. Pretty sure Sony doesn't want that.
It's funny because everybody keeps saying Nintendo doomed, but Nintendo is like the top seller of all consoles for like the past 10 years.
Not consoles, but like at least portables.
At least handhelds, yeah. Consoles, the Wii U has been underselling at the very least, but the Wii can make up for the Wii U's poor sales, definitely. By like a long shot.
It's now a question of will the NX replace both the 3DS and the Wii U, I guess?
I hope it just releases the Wii U, because the 3DS still has a couple years in it.
Well, because like obviously like Sony is now focusing their efforts on PS4, and they're gonna, it looks like, keep pushing for PlayStation VR at the moment.
Yeah.
So they're definitely just like, we're just gonna focus on console-based work and having things more integrated, whereas Nintendo is still very much behind on that.
Yeah. The thing is like, a lot of companies follow suit with what Nintendo did, but the thing is like, Nintendo struck it rich with something new, and then when they tried something new that was still trying to be the other consoles, it didn't work out. And it's just because of the peripherals, I think. But Sony is now trying something that everybody wants, along with something that nobody wanted, which was the PlayStation Move and PlayStation VR. And they're just, it seems like it's going to work out, but we don't know yet, because PlayStation VR hasn't really been getting any public demos.
No, I don't think those are out till like later this month, I want to say. Or they've released the PSVR demos are at limited locations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I mean, like, I think we'll have to wait and see how it launches, how Christmas goes, and then I think by the time January comes along, we'll see
we'll
how it's sort of floating, I guess.
At the very least, I think PlayStation VR would be dropping down slightly in price to make up for the holidays.
Yeah, like I do expect Black Friday sales ad to have PS4 and PSVR bundled together.
I might get an early Christmas gift and just get the graphics card when it was on sale, because Black Friday sales always happen on Newegg.
Yeah, that's a good idea. On the other hand,
if I can get some extra budget, PlayStation VR is always a secondary.
I mean, like, I'm already, I guess, buying some other stuff instead of, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, not only do you have a job, but you also have college and a significant other to.
I mean, like, I don't actually have a job at this point, but I do have to pay for part of the ski trips I'm planning on going this season. Now that like I'm part of USC's club.
Yeah, you already have a budget, is the thing.
I have to pay for the gas and food, so I was like, I'm just gonna eat oats, top ramen, rice and beans, Cliff Bars,
Hmm.
drink
Yeah.
water, dope
So like
party.
you already have like a budget planned. You have things planned. You have a ski trip. You have your significant other. You
A
have
lot of ski
college.
trips.
Yeah. I'm
It's
alone.
that is true, and I'm not
I'm
sure.
alone, jobless, and I'm pretty sure my family hates me. So
Move to
I have to.
California.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
like,
they just hate the fact that I'm mooching off of them. So
hey,
I'll see it. I'll see about it. I'm trying to get jobs, but as I said, it's tough.
job
So
market in general is just hard for everyone right now.
yeah.
So don't take it too hard.
Yeah.
But
No
yeah, like
worries. Eventually, I'll get PlayStation VR.
I'm not sure if I'm going to be alive by the end of the semester. I'll be a zombie, but alive,
Yeah.
probably not.
Yeah. You'll be catatonic.
No, like we'll be doing the PlayStation point in December. I'm gonna have a cup of coffee and be like, okay,
I have enough
let's.
energy to do this.
And now, and I can crash after this, and maybe I'll wake up on Christmas Day.
Wake me up when Danganronpa 3 comes out.
Oh my god, I've been waiting for that. I've been watching the anime. That's been a mistake because despair. But yeah, I'm still waiting for the game. Like they said come out in 2016. It's 2016. Like we're starting fall next month.
It's
Where the fuck's my
2016.
game?
Where is it?
Where's my fucking suffering, despair-filled game? I want to know how these characters die.
hopefully it comes out in October.
Yeah,
So,
but like
so
it's still gonna
because
take 6 months for NIS America to localize it, and I have to avoid spoilers on the internet.
yeah,
Ah,
just imagine that it's actually getting like global release. That's why it's happening.
no. Like you would think they would give them the script ahead of time,
Yeah.
and then they would translate, and then they would do the dubbing, but apparently not.
It's also a VN, so like the script would be pretty to the point. Like it's not Dragon Quest VII where we saw that it's an entire bookshelf's worth of script that they have to localize.
So I mean, like, it's still a lot of text, though. I think it's just like how Spike Chunsoft wants to work with NIS America, because there's only like maybe 3 people doing the translations.
Yeah.
And then like they have the testers and they have marketing and PR, but a lot of times they have to send feedback to the Japanese team to then put all in the text, to do any programming, and you have to translate the Q&A English into Japanese if you're having just doing an English Q&A. There are bilingual, so some people do English Japanese Q&A. You know Japanese, but you have to be really proficient.
Yeah. There's also the factor of sometimes localization errors come out.
Oh
And
god.
those are the funniest things to me because I remember seeing localization errors where sometimes translators' notes would be left into the final script. So like you would get get the translation of lines and then in brackets it would be like, I don't know how to translate this. Or
I mean,
my favorite are like occasions in Persona. Like there was an occasion in the original Persona 3 release where there was just a line of dialogue that was never translated.
like that happens because like some things just don't translate well into Japanese. It's just like it'll be like a mannerism or a saying, but
or
it just
sometimes when the script comes out, sometimes the script writers accidentally forgot to implement a line of dialogue that actually is in the game, and that line just never gets translated.
Or like if it's not typed up, or if it's like a word, like a slang word, and the English translator doesn't know it, and that can cause some problems. Because then it's like, well, how are we going to replace this text of dialogue? So how do you make it work for an English-speaking audience who may or may not have cultural context?
Yeah.
And that's what makes localization really hard, is you have to think about, like, you have to know about 2 different cultures, and you have to sort of figure out how to make it work.
Yeah. I think the other big issue about localization is making it approachable for all audiences, or the audience implied. We've seen, as you brought up Corpse Party, we have seen that sometimes localization can go a little too freehand. and get stuff like
Seiko.
my butt's drier in a desert.
Oh, that was so fucking weird when it came up. I
Yeah,
was like, who thought this was a good idea? Who approved this?
yeah,
I mean,
and
like
just
it's a fucked up, grotesque thing, but like I was like, I guess this is acceptable.
yeah. The funny thing is like if you get the original text, like it's not as blatant. It's like
Yeah,
still it's like very subtle in that
yeah.
kind of thing, but it's just like
Japanese is very has a lot of subtlety and context and
like like
assumptions.
like reading that almost made me feel like a pervert because it's like got any of that ass cream.
I
Yeah,
was
like
just
it's like
like,
no.
you come off as a very promiscuous girl who was
Yeah,
also a lesbian, and
yeah,
I'm just not used to this because we're playing a Japanese game with Japanese girls
yeah.
who
Same.
that is
That's the
like
same
they
thing.
would never say that. So I'm just like, this is jarring, but also this game is fucking creepy so
Mhm,
far. So I mean, like, I guess it's okay.
yeah, that kind of thing also happens with the Sailor Moon games when they used to get brought over here.
Oh God.
Uh, because there was there is a professor. I don't give a shit about Sailor Moon, but I just remember seeing a clip from the game where there's a professor who starts hitting on one of the sailors, uh, because she's 14, and you know the age of consent in Japan is 14, but the age of consent here is 18. So it's really
Yeah.
weird to
It's
hear
it
that.
yeah, to me it's like that's creepy, and
That's
Sailor
creepy
Moon
for
is
us,
real.
but over there it's normal.
Well, I mean, like Sailor Moon is very much feministic, so
Yep.
or a feminist work. So to see that is like,
Well, I mean, to be fair, the script had to be written by the like original writers. I feel like
not necessarily. Like she
it
probably,
would have had assistance by
but she had to have approved it. But
yeah.
like this is also back when things weren't quite the same, so it's not uncommon for say an adaptation like the staff to do something without a creator's consent. D. Grayman, I'll bite this topic, but it does relate to this sort of
We've been
subject.
off
And
topic for like 40 minutes at this point, so
fuck it.
yeah, let's just keep going. Yeah.
Well, it's just that like D. Grayman Hollow came out, and you know how there's like posters in magazines
Mm-hmm.
to promote the work. Well, there was a poster sort of suggesting BL, and the author didn't approve of it, and she was very angry, and I don't know if the staff ever apologized to her, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone didn't ask the original author and it got approved, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So
Oh
that
boy.
can happen in video games too, though.
Yeah, and that's when you get really ridiculous translations. In
Yep.
case anyone's interested, the Legends of Localization website is a fantastic site for reading stuff like this, just because there is absolutely insane stories about translation, or even the fact of just things that have happened. Like,
And you know what not to do if you're gonna go into localization. Hey.
yep.
So I say we should wrap this up.
Do you really think we should wrap it up? Because it seems like we've got it good for now. But yeah, let's
What?
wrap it up.
So I think we should do a poll after this to see if people want the PlayStation Pro, PlayStation VR.
Or,
You know, what do you want the most?
mm-hmm.
Do a poll. That'll work, and then we can use it for next week's podcast. I believe for next week's podcast we should focus on games coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Because Persona 5 is coming up, but it's like Japan, but I want that soundtrack. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Because, like, this week was mainly about the Sony conference. We'll probably take other game news that was probably brushed over this week and just bring it back in next week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anything else you have to add about PlayStation's conference today, or no?
Not really. I mean, it was just a business meeting, as far as I'm concerned. I love how everybody was like reacting because there was no applause when the PlayStation 4 Pro was revealed and had a release date and a price. I was just like, what do you expect? It's a business meeting.
It doesn't, but the fact that they're broadcasting it live.
His mic is off. His mic is off.
That's always awkward for the sound department.
It's always awkward for the sound crew to hear that, and they're just like, "Oh shit!"
Well, because it means tech fucked up. They fucked
Yeah.
up bad.
No, the thing is when you hear like, because sound tech would have to listen to it like live. If they hear that, they immediately know what happened because they hear his mic is off, and they're just like, like
We need to go fix this.
It's like watching a GIF of Inside SpongeBob's brain where there's just a bunch of SpongeBobs and the office is on fire.
Oh my god, I love
That's what sound tech would look like.
That is tech in general, and like when you're doing tech for like shows.
Just sound tech is the SpongeBob on top of a flaming desk going, just freaking out. That's exactly what it must have been to hear his mic is off, but his mic is on. But the guy on stage, his mic is off. Shit, we fucked up.
Like if I would know if my mic is off if my voice is not booming because I am too soft spoken for my own good.
Yeah. Sound tech, why are you so bad in live streams? The Sega show when they announced Sonic Mania and everything was a massacre.
Yeah, sound crew like being on the tech team is I would say is not easy, but I feel like there's some things where it's just like, how did you fuck this up? Like,
yeah, I've noticed as well because I watched the Halo 5 live stream that was out yesterday, September 6th, and like partway into them revealing the new map and like the new Rex and everything, their microphones started crackling and emitting a ton of static. And that kind of thing is like a very common error I've noticed. But at the same time, it's like it's absurd to know that sound is like the absolute worst thing to deal with live.
It is, and I'm gonna have to deal with that because I need to like set up OBS Studio.
Oh God, good luck to you.
Yeah.
No worries. What are you gonna be streaming?
Good question. What will I have the energy to stream?
Yeah.
Because I'm not getting any new games until Persona 5 because I ordered the Take Your Heart edition. Yep. I think the bag that comes with it should be an actual like replica life-size bag.
Yep.
I don't know if I'll bring it to class because like I started longboarding and you have to push a lot more to like if you're carrying sort of a heavy bag, and I already fell today. Well, I mean, like I fell on the weekend and I took a chunk out of my ankle. It looks really gross, by the way, but
yep.
I kind of have probably like a medium-sized bruise on my thigh from falling. The backpack took like most of like the impact, but the guy who got my skateboard or my longboard for me was like, "Oh, I did the same thing this morning." And I was like, "Oh, good. I'm also in pain."
Oh, good. Can you stop the bleeding, please?
Well, like I just went back to my apartment and just put my my longboard down. I was just like, I'm just gonna walk for the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I have a lot on my plate for October. I'm just gonna say. I already tweeted out the schedule. You might have seen it.
I'll look at it tonight. I haven't had the chance.
Well, for those of you who don't pay attention to my Twitter, all month October, I'm streaming a bunch of horror games, and it's going to be an affectionately named stream series over on my own Twitch page called Spook.
Can I just like be in it to commentate?
Yeah, why not? I'll be playing a bunch of Resident Evils, Fatal Frame, just a bunch of games. I'll be playing Deadly Premonition.
Oh my god, I definitely want to be there for that because like I tried watching Cryotic play that when he was, but the PC port was just so bad. He
You think
just
the
couldn't.
PC port is bad? Just wait until you see the PS3 version.
Wait, the one that NAS America released?
Yeah, just wait until you see the PS3 version.
You're fucking joking. They fucked that up too?
The game itself is fucked up. It runs at like 20 FPS.
What?
Yeah,
How? How do you fuck this up?
because it's a cult classic game. It's really bad, but it's a cult classic, so I had to play it because it's basically the video game Japanese version of Twin Peaks.
Oh god. But yeah, I want to come on in the streams. I'm not sure what I
Yeah.
would stream because I'm still waiting to get that refund from getting scammed about Overwatch.
Yep.
Now I actually like I want to play it, but I don't want to
Yeah.
buy it.
No worries. Yeah, you already are part of the are already part of the Discord server I'm on, where I usually stream in a channel.
With
You
Bitmask?
can, yeah, I drop in and drop. You can drop in, drop out.
Okay.
Whenever I just. Yeah, October 1st. Fun times to be had.
October we'll be releasing a lot more content actually,
Mhm.
and I think that's when we'll start Blaze Kick Eats.
Yeah. Yeah, please. Can't forget, Blaze Kick Eats is a series.
Oh, it's an upcoming series.
Yeah.
I
Gotta work on the
haven't.
script.
It's. I don't think the script's hard. I think it's gonna be interesting recording it.
I'll have fun recording it. The fact is that my camera can only record 10 minutes at a time because it's a DSLR.
I mean that's fine, because there's gonna be times when you're like, obviously it's gonna be cut and sped up,
Yeah.
but like, I'm getting the sense of that like I know it's gonna take some practice.
Yeah, I already
But,
know how to make like my favorite dish. I found out the absolute best way to make the first dish I'm gonna record on channel.
I have to sort of think about like what dishes do I want to do because of the angle I have to record them at in the kitchen.
Mhm.
I don't think I'll have too much trouble with lighting, but I know I definitely want to name like the episodes like, or like Dank Eats, or it has to start with Dank and then we put like something else after it, like Dank Pizza.
Episode 1, college crap. I'm gonna show you how to make taco ramen.
Oh Jesus! I was actually kind of thinking of letting Noah do the college stuff just because like he's still in high school.
Yeah, I know how to make a bunch of breakfast foods, so I'll be able to do that.
Yeah, you can be like the breakfast section. I'm more like lunch
Well, I
and
can make
dinner.
dinners too. Yeah, I can make dinners, but breakfast is my thing.
Breakfast is like dealing with eggs is hard.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. Like eggs are just very delicate. But yeah, we're gonna come out with that series in the next month.
I'm actually gonna start working on mock-ups just to see what I got.
And then you're gonna be doing. Is the streams the only thing you're doing?
The streams in October, yeah, I'm gonna be all of October is gonna be on my stream. It's gonna be like 5 hours a day. I'm gonna be streaming. It's not officially BlazeKick sponsored or anything, but we could probably host it and get questions and everything. I could bring in the cast and crew over and through and do like it's all for charity as well. I'm gonna start setting up for Extra Life.
Ah, yeah. We could like do a Smash Bros tournament at one point.
Yeah, probably towards the end of it, because I have towards the end of the streams, I'm gonna be streaming Left 4 Dead 2, but I modded the ever-loving hell out of
it. That's always interesting.
Yeah, so not only is Left 4 Dead 2 not the bloody gory mess you might expect, because I replaced all the blood and had a mod installed that turns the game into paintball mode.
Oh God.
But all of the characters are Pokemon. And instead of the Midnight Riders concert, it's Hatsune Miku.
Jesus. That's
so
great.
that's just like the midline of what I've thrown in, because it's gonna get much more insane. I think the mod pack is like 73 items at this point.
Oh,
I'm gonna
Jesus.
keep adding until October comes. It's gonna be terrible.
Are you gonna be doing a Halloween stream by any chance?
Yeah, all through October is gonna be Swoopstober, and then Halloween is gonna be like top off of the event.
Cause
That's why
like
it's called Spoofstober, because I'm not easily scared, but I do like I hate jump scares is the big thing, but like atmospheric horror is my favorite thing.
I know I'm remaking a certain costume that I know will terrify people. I don't know if I'm gonna want to go partying with people necessarily, because it's like I'm not gonna drink, but I just want to hang out. But
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I think it'd be funny if I was like using my webcam and just was like, "Hi."
I'll dress up as Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
Might as well go for it.
Yeah. I don't have a red jacket. I don't have cool guns, which is probably for the better.
You're not gonna be playing Five Nights at Freddy's games, are you?
No, no.
Thank God.
I don't own Five Nights at Freddy's, so no. The list I have is Resident Evil 0, 1, and 2, Resident Evil: The Dark Side Chronicles, which is the Umbrella Chronicles, and the Dark Side Chronicles. Both of them are on-rail shooters. Dark Side Chronicles is actually is like recreations of Resident Evil 2 and 3. And Umbrella Chronicles, I have no fucking clue, but they're on-rail shooters. I also had the Fatal Frame 1, 2, and 3, PlayStation 2 games. Fatal Frame 4 was Japan only on the Wii, so I can't do that. Deadly Premonition, Left 4 Dead 2. I might add Resident Evil 4 and The House of the Dead 2 and 3 at some point if I have enough in the schedule. But yeah, like 10 games over 31 days is going to be a lot of time. It's going to be a huge time sink. So yeah, we'll see. I might actually host it on Blaze Kick Live just so people have something to watch and communicate with.
Yeah. And that way, like, the other Blaze Kick staff can, like, kind of drop in if they have time.
Yep.
So that wraps it up for this week. We'll be back next week with more about video games in general, but I hope you enjoyed our discussion about Sony's conference, among some other things.
Some other things.
So, just so you guys know, we have a Patreon, and you get the episode a day before the public if you pledge $1 a month. Any original video content, like Flashfire and what Blaze Kick Eats is going to be, if you pay $5, you also get that a day early. It's not a lot, obviously, but we're just trying to get the channel to grow. But we need your help, you guys. It's a two-way road. We are willing to make you content, and if you help us actually get more funds, we can create more and better quality content. And that, like, more on like a weekly, daily schedule, instead of being like, oh, this is gonna come out this one day a week. So, just $1, guys, just $1. We also have a website. We also, if you guys would check that out as well, that really helps us, blazekick.com. Our Patreon is also patreon.com/blazekickmedia. And we also have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/user/blazekickmedia, and then Twitter. So Blazekick's Twitter.
Actually, just straight Blazekick.
Oh, okay. Patreon. I had coffee, but apparently Marin's like, nope.
Yep.
So Blazekick Twitter is @BlazeKickTweet. My Twitter handle is @demon_sorceress. What's yours, Tyler?
@ReplayTyHeretic.
Alright then, and that's it for the PlayStation point this week. Thanks for watching, guys.
Don't buy my number 9.
God damn it.